everybody. So, in this episode, I'm going to kind of talk about the naming schema for how I expect things will be categorized and named in the Betterverse. Um, so, I'll jump right into it, starting with one of the coolest ecosystems I think there will be in the, the better ecosystem of ecosystems, or at least the coolest one I've thought of, which is BPM. Now, in normal people language, BPM stands for beats per minute, and it is how you can determine how fast a song is how many beats per minute it is. And in the Betterverse, BPM is just in the same way, kind of the rhythm of reality or of real IT. um, and there's so many different names that can be ascribed to this acronym that I, just to name off a whole bunch, wherein like every single one of these really deserves their own episode, but I'll kind of summarize all of them. Um, we have the better product market, better platform management, better password management, payment method, better package management, better people management, better play music and better produce music, better property management. The list goes on. Each one of these will essentially be an open source competition where people can um, vote on the different competing ecosystems that each are kind of competing to have that name, and why like part of the voting system, once it's like set up properly, will kind of have people enumerate why they like one particular version of the platform over another. And as time goes on, trying to kind of make these interoperable between themselves and ultimately give you a lot of options, so you don't have to necessarily choose the one that everybody votes to be the number one. If you want to use the worst one, go ahead. um, the goal is to have all of them be sort of interoperable, meaning compatible and work together, even if you're using a different version of the software. And naturally, this is a huge, like, that's not easy to do. Anybody who's tried software development knows it's difficult to do that. So very ambitious goal, but I think it's important to have goals so you know what to work towards, because ultimately, I do think iron sharpens iron, and the best way to make something that lasts and is optimal is to have it sort of be a competition. So let's talk about a few of these different names here, starting with the better product market, because I think that's one of the ecosystems that people will like the most, and it just has the most utility to the world and making the world a better place. So the better product market is not necessarily trying to be an open source competitor to Amazon, but it kind of is. But it also is helping Amazon, because right now Amazon kind of is the better product market. They they're winning. Um, but what makes the better product market better, apart from just being open source, is that it essentially takes this abstract idea of an ing, whatever the product may be. In this case, I'm going to use an example of this water bottle. Owala, they're great. Really recommend them. I love this water bottle. It's got a straw and you can sip from it, close it up. Good water bottle. So this water bottle is sold on a bunch of different platforms, different websites. I'm sure the company themselves has it on their store page for some price. Amazon has it. A bunch of other retailers have it. Amazon has a bunch of people who are doing like the whole drop shipping thing. Um, there's a lot of places you can buy it, and the better product market wants you to know about all of them, so you can make a more informed decision about which source you will choose to purchase your product from. So simply listing all of the places that currently exist recursively for a product to be purchased is kind of like the ground floor of what the better product market will be. It's just categorizing all of your options and hopefully making it as easy as possible to become a seller yourself. Naturally, we'll also do things like allowing you to, you know, have things like verified reviewers. So if you purchase something and we can verify that on, the essentially the not exactly the blockchain. Blockchains can be inefficient and they're not required for everything in the world, but the better equivalent of having your purchase be verified, that makes your review a lot more credible. And if you've tried a bunch of different products that are kind of competing in the same ecosystem, like let's say you've tried all of the different water bottles that are similar, or you've tried all of the different pens or microphones or electric bikes or cars, your review about one particular thing is now a lot more credible because you have tried and maybe also reviewed all of these other things. So this allows for people who have this niche sort of role, often on YouTube or other platforms, where they're just like they're a reviewer. These curators now have a role to play in the ecosystem because their experience trying all of these different things and formulating an opinion about them will really be helpful in verifying or just kind of crowdsourcing what truly is the better product on this market for that particular subset of products. So, this is something that could be theoretically done today if I were competent at programming, is basically recursively going through for any particular product, finding like half the time right now the better product market for any particular product is going to be Amazon, because Amazon sells everything, damn near everything. So they'll be featured quite heavily on it, and it's gonna help bring business to them. Over time, we'll hopefully move away from proprietary solutions like Amazon and go towards a more peer-to-peer middleman-less, or that's not really a word, but middleman-less. There's no middleman, because ultimately you don't necessarily have to have one when the software suite is open source, and perhaps there will be some sort of I don't know, like a fee for using the BPM. It depends on who builds it, I guess. They could program it in whatever fee they want, but we're working towards making it free. In the long run, it's better if it were free. Although it still needs to find a way to support itself. Naturally, but the goal with BPM is certainly not to make the most money. It's just to have a better ecosystem for everything to work, and to hopefully be the first free markets to ever exist, because we have all these economists and Republicans lauding the glory of a free market as if we've ever seen one. I'd like to see what they look like, because I'm not a fan of stupidity, unless it's funny. I like funny shit, and stupidity usually is pretty funny. But so let's look at better platform management. Just kind of, or whatever it may be. Essentially, better platform management aims to help kind of help people navigate this world where there's so many different websites, and each one of them wants you to make an account with a password, and there's so many passwords to remember, and it's a pain in the ass, and no one really trusts password managers, because what if someone hacks it? Better platform management kind of aims to use the Web3 Ethereum login sort of. It builds on that sort of thing. So essentially, if you become a better person, trademark, not really, but if you become a if you become a better person, so to speak, you could have this ecosystem of different accounts that you attach to yourself. So you could include your email address. Maybe you have a Gmail. Maybe you have your iCloud. You can attach both of those. If you have an Ethereum address or a Bitcoin address, you can ascribe all of those into your network or constellation of different uh, aspects of your identity. So if you get hacked on one or several of them, so long as you retain, at least one of them, the goal is to help minimize, the devastating loss that can come when somebody hacks your personal information. But more importantly than that, the goal is to help make it easy to log in and authenticate yourself on really every platform. So just like you can log in with Google, you can log in with Facebook, or log in with iCloud. The goal would be for BPM to be an open source solution to this, which, because it's open source, you can be a lot more trusting that the software won't be, snooping on you, stealing your private information, doing all sorts of unethical things that we know all of these big companies are doing. We're being spied on all the time by all of these companies which are just selling our data. And I find that, morally reprehensible, but we're not doing anything about it because we're so reliant on them. Even deeper than that, kind of going into the BDSM world, the better decentralized social media, better platform management aims to kind of consolidate all of the data that you have about yourself that you want to be linked to yourself. You can kind of consolidate that. So all of your posts on Twitter, all of your pictures on Instagram, and your embarrassing, archive of stuff you did on Facebook, if you want to keep that around, you could kind of attach to your better person management, or your BDSM profile, your better decentralized social media profile, or because essentially you can have this constellation of different places where you exist on the internet and have them be organized in a coherent place. BDSM, that's it aims kind of to use the bin. I don't want to get into that too deep. That's for another episode. But the short version is that it kind of aims to be a baseline layer of the internet, so that you can actually make it fairly easy to create your own new social media website and have it still be kind of interfaceable with the rest of the Betterverse, or the internet, really. So that ultimately it's not so difficult to create new platforms and, stop using the ones that you don't like. The biggest issue with social media is that people get locked into them because all their stuff is there, and it's really kind of difficult to get an entire population of people to move to a new platform. We're a slow-moving herd, the internet. So the goal is to essentially make it completely free and fair for all competing social medias to use the BDSM, so that we can hopefully get out of this knot around our necks that is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever social medias you don't like. And also the name, kind of like, I like the name the BDSM because it quite clearly implies that it's not for children. Because you wouldn't have your kid do BDSM, and I don't think kids should be on social media. It's not good for their brains. But back to BPM, because I prefer music to BDSM anyways. Um, better password management, we kind of already touched on that. Better payment method, essentially you can have a constellation of different payment methods, just like PayPal, except it's open source and hopefully free. So You can have your proprietary banking solutions like a debit card, a credit card. You can even include your PayPal account, as well as any crypto addresses that you would like to use, and simply select whichever option in your constellation of payment methods you would prefer, and hopefully we'll get to the point fairly quickly where you can use this in the real world at actual brick and mortar stores, be it through a card or a QR code or NFC chip on your phone. There's a million different ways to do this, and ultimately, uh, it just is a matter of programming it and then integrating it with pre-existing businesses. Okay. Um, Better package management. This is logistics. So an open source solution for logistical shipping things, wherein which hopefully it'd be peer to peer, so there is no heads or like a many-headed monster or a hydra, except you are the thing. Anybody who wants to be a courier, uh, most of the time, if you're like a delivery driver for Amazon, you are not getting paid as much as you should. End of the day, um, most of the money that's getting paid by the seller or the buyer for shipping usually goes to Amazon or FedEx or whatever. Not nearly as close to your fair share is going towards the couriers. So, better package management aims to be kind of an open source, as far as you can have open source uh, businesses and real world services. The goal, with such a thing would be to just have a more fair split, so that the people who are doing the real work get their due compensation for doing so. The same model can be applied to Uber. Um, Essentially, a better Uber would be as close to open source and freely managed as possible. The app itself doesn't really have to be collecting a huge seniorage check, or a percentage for every Uber drive that takes place. Really, most of that money should be going to the person driving, because they're allowing their car to be depreciated every time they do it. They're taking on risk. What if it's a crazy person? What if they're drunk? Uber drivers simply are not paid their due fair share, and the better free market would like to alleviate that inefficiency. Uh, Better people management sounds creepy and like something the Chinese government would like, so maybe we won't do that one, but I included it because it fits with the acronym. Um, but also, I guess for like our okay, here's the less creepy version of better people management. As an introvert myself, I often struggle to continue like just keeping up with friends. So, better people management, one of the solutions for that would be that it could provide you like almost like an autonomous uh, way of keeping up with people, just, touching base, maybe organizing plans. Um, so, passively kind of scheduling things out, like, hey, we can kind of compare our schedules like we would with our Google calendars and figure out what day we want to go to the bar this week. Or maybe we have more of an opt-out plan where, like, if you don't say otherwise, we're going to be going to hang out this week. So, like, if you don't say no, I'm expecting you to be there. Something like that. Um, Even cooler, though, and kind of the one that truly resonates with the name BPM, is Better Play Music and Better Produce Music. Better Play Music aims to be a peer-to-peer music streaming and sharing platform, and also almost like Amazon, like their Alexa or Siri, like, hey Siri, do this. Hey, better play music. It, it's kind of built into the name. So essentially, the goal being for these that we want to make sure that most of the profits for music go towards the people who make the music. I know music labels do provide some amount of value to like our world, but honestly, I kind of feel like they're often a little bit unnecessary in most cases. I think most artists agree that the music industry is pretty broken and inefficient and unfair towards the artists. So the goal here would be to simply basically have each song be its own ing, right? Where in which they have a crypto token associated with it. Naturally, the original creator, even if they aren't the one who posts it, we can know that this song is a Taylor Swift song, even if somebody else posted it. So using general consensus, voting in like basically passive truth sorting algorithms using like the better prediction market sort of style of things. I didn't even say that one. Let me write that down. But yeah, better prediction market's a big one too. But in any case, allowing information to be kind of passively filtered to verify truth. Uh, Either people just saying yes, this is true or this is false, and hopefully getting people to put their money where their mouth is and say, yeah, this is the Taylor Swift song. I'm willing to bet $50 on it because it's quite obviously Taylor Swift. So like, yeah, easy money. Not that many people would be willing to bet against that. So like, don't expect to double your money, but you might make a little bit of a return on some dumbass who thinks otherwise. But in any case, this would help kind of solve the issue if maybe, say, a musician was working on a song and someone steals their laptop. That dirty motherfucker. Um, you can still kind of retroactively have the system recognize the known creator of a song as that creator, even if they weren't the one to post it. So the do like the whatever version of the ings that you're looking at, because there's going to be a lot of different crypto token templates that can be ascribed to each individual song. So really each one is going to have a whole bunch of different tokens associated with it. The goal is to have at least a few that we can all agree on are like good solid templates that we like, because they're the most fair. We'll make sure that the artists get those tokens so that one, they make most of the money, but also people can invest in their music and trade it just like they would with trading cards, so that there's a limited supply. Maybe some versions, every time you sell it, like many NFTs, the artist gets a percentage of that seller, like just a percentage of the sales price. But in any case, the goal is to make it so that artists feel okay and confident that if they release their music free on the internet, they can still make money and get due credit if, say, it gets used in a song, or sorry, like it's sampled. Yeah, like I do think we need to kind of rethink how we do sampling and using like a song in a commercial or whatnot. While I don't think it's ever a bad idea to get permission from somebody, that's just the respectful thing to do. I think that the way we're doing things right now is just unsustainable and unrealistic. I'm personally kind of more of a freedom and open creativity minded person, where I like, if everybody abided by my rules, it'd be perfectly fine to steal anybody's song and use it in a commercial, say, so long as you gave them due credit and hopefully shared profits in a way that was fair. Because my personal, like, if I were sampling somebody else's song and using it on my own, I would probably default to giving them like half of the crypto tokens for it, or even all of it, because I don't really care. I'm gonna be rich either way, like whatever. Or even just leaving it up to them to determine, like, hey, you can decide our split. What do you want it to be? And if they choose to take all of it, like, I guess I'm fucked. I probably won't sample their music again, because that's kind of a cunty thing to do. Sorry, I just said a bad word. If you're a kid, whatever. Australians say it all the time. Get over it. But let's see. Better Produce Music. Better Produce Music aims to be an open source music production software that essentially allows for a much greater amount of collaboration and mixing of different sound tracks as possible. So it's essentially applying to music production what is happening in the open source software world with Git and GitHub. Proper version control done in a kind of open source fashion allows anybody to take, let's say just a drum line and attach a melody to it or a vocal line. And anybody can build off of that or kind of go back and take whatever pieces they prefer. And as a community, we can build not just like one song, but many, many different versions of songs based off of a shared starting point. So this would allow for artists to kind of make it easier for people to remix their songs and to share and celebrate the really good remixes, as well as just kind of having it be easier to like remix it all. Like I personally get frustrated that I have to like do like advanced like audio processing or whatever to separate like the vocals and the drums and the guitar line or the synths from a song. It'd be a lot easier if the artist just shared their stems entirely so that people could take the drums, the guitar, and not have to go through this really annoying process of reverse engineering out the parts that they don't want to use. It'd be better if everybody just shared their stems and we can, kind of all create more together and have it be easier to do so. That's better for everybody. 'Cause I think creation in general is a good thing. And then better prediction markets. That essentially is, if you don't know what a prediction market is, it's essentially where you can bet on things that will happen or have happened or could happen, like maybe who wins a presidential election. The hard part really in a prediction market is the verification of truth, because if enough people have a financial stake in lying, they might lie about what the truth is. This is not perfectly solved, but essentially if you look at a solution like Chainlink, they use oracle networks to verify truth, where, for example, if you want to see what the weather is in Great Britain, or maybe a particular city in Great Britain, like London, essentially an oracle network takes every single reporter who's reporting the weather, so like a news service or what have you, they look at all of them and say, this person says it's 76 degrees and sunny. This person also says that this person's lying and they say it's 42 degrees and raining. But everybody else is saying it's 76 degrees and sunny. So we're going to go ahead and say it's pretty likely that it's 76 degrees and sunny. That's a rough, TLDR, too long didn't read, of how oracle networks work. But essentially we can bet on things that will happen or true things that could happen. That's not an obsession of mine, but it is something that people who I follow are really into, and it will exist in the Betterverse. It's BPM, better prediction market. Of course, it'll exist. Yeah. So that's BPM, the rhythm of reality, of real IT, like information technology. Yeah, I'll leave it here because this is I could go on for a lot, but that's BPM in a nutshell, and it'll be fun to dance to once we have it actually built. I can't wait to see it. Thanks for listening, folks. I'll catch you on the flippity flip. See ya.